В предишния епизод на Камифуда осъзнах, че престоят ми в Глоумрод няма да е никак лек. Още на първия ъгъл се сблъсках с древно растение, убиващо всички докоснали се до него. Оцелях като по чудо, само и само да разбера, че един мач на Камифуда не е много по-безопасен. Въпреки всичко успях да се запозная с нови другари – Еви и Люн. Вторият се оказа отговорник за западното крило на общежитията и ме уреди с стая, в която да прекарам нощта преди следващия ден, изпълнен с Камифуда.
That night, I never thought bed sheets could feel too soft. In the summers back home, sweat-soaked cotton was apt to stick to my back. As I tossed and turned in a bedroom that might as well have been a veritable broiler. Money was always hard to come by. If we were a month behind on rent, that figured us for being ahead of the game. And I would lay awake at night, feeling those cheap, threadbare, 30-year-old cotton sheets, and poured wishes into a voiceless universe for something, anything, just a little better. Now here in Glomrod, the comfort feels wrong. The night is so cool. The blankets are very heavy and soft and thick. My stomach, for the first time I can remember, is utterly full. I have no worries about where my meal might come from tomorrow. And I paid for it all in blood. 1,200 lives. 1,237 in fact. Trapped in a wrinkle in time, birthed from nothing but my own crippling shame. I'm not a dreamer, I'm a parasite. So I crawl out of bed to curl into a claustrophobic little corner, lit by a single beam of moonlight. The stone is coarse, uneven, and punishingly cold, and I think it suits me better. I wake later than anticipated. Calm swathes of light greet my window, but not of the morning sun. They are shades of gloom, the same blue and black and purple twilight which persisted through the night. Glomrod, it seems, is aptly named. My back is stiff from a night spent on the floor. Yet, after my time in the Pale Gardens, I find myself fairly used to the feeling of a stone bed. I take some time to head to the dormitory showers and slip on the same uniform from yesterday. I'll have to see about getting another. Until then, Lun mentioned I should visit Trent in the club room sometime today, but maybe it would be better to explore more first. After all, Professor Iharam told me to familiarize myself with the campus. Where to? Добре, имаме опции. Мога да отида директно в Камифуда клуба, мога да отида в Центъра по изкуства, мога да отида в западните общежития. Я да видим първо, стъпка по стъпка. I stroll around the hallways before nearing my room again. I spy a glint of moonlight, subtle, but catching on a sparse surface of glass. It comes from a small crack in the window, the dorm room to the left of my own. Hello. Hey there. I shove my keys back into my pocket and approach my neighbor, for what I assume to be an obligatory hello. I'm Tarot, your new neighbor, I guess. Queso. He leans back into his room for a moment, bites his lip, then pokes his head back out again. His eyes glaze over, milky with a touch of silver, as if there are pale stars slumbering beneath the surface. She wanted to tell you she was sorry. Her heart still hurt, and so her words were like little knives. She didn't mean to cut you. It was her job to hold you. But the guilt made the knives much easier to hold. Excuse me? She tried to tell you in the auditorium, but you wouldn't leave the stage. And she was strutting with the rest of them. Their bodies become shelled trappings in a different past, but it is now theirs. And they forget. I take a step back, my throat is tight, like 1,000 hands at my neck, revenants of the theater. I dream of that auditorium. I dream po-skoro, pardon, every night, like a rewound clock. Did someone tell you to say that? Was it Ihram? My voice is terse, ire, and guilt. His pupils constrict. Tell me, to say what? That stuff about the auditorium. His visage scrunches, eyes widen, like a cornered animal, and then comes shame, remorse and shame. His eyes glisten, a prelude to tears. Sorry, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. He shuts the door gently behind him. The sound of a deadbolt clicks a moment after. Strange. Very strange. I try to head back to my own room, but I find myself too anxious to lay my head down to rest. I remember my brother telling me once that it was a terrible thing to not feel safety in even your dreams. Like everything he did, he was right. So I turned back the way I came. No harm in a little insomnia. Not if it hurts less than the alternative. Така мистериозен енкаунтър. Going about my business on campus, I feel stark chill grip my spine. My knees buckle under the simple weight of gravity, and I find myself struggling to pick myself up off the floor in a daze. What in the... I rub my eyes. A faint warble blemishes the air in the spot I just passed through. It resembles a small wrinkle of heat, and is no larger than a foot in a length, nigh imperceptible. I reach out a hand to touch it, but the strange ethereal crack in the air seems to carry no physical form. Instead, it fills my bones with frigid discomfort. Is this a nexus? Professor Ihram mentioned them to me in passing. A belated warning, he said. Scars, he called them. Scars on our reality. Places where eldritch forces of supreme power pressed on the veil between this world and another. As a result, they retain some measure of eldritch energy which formed this nexus. Left alone, they will abate as the veil rebuilds in time. If they are meddled with, however, great danger is posed to any Pactsworn who might be unable to channel the energy within. Yet, great strength is promised as well. Every muscle in my body tenses. Things being as they are, I could use a bit of extra strength about now. Here goes nothing. I reach into the nexus, pulling at the remnants of the eldritch energies within. A bitter cold sinks into my flesh. Visualize the strength I desire. Трябва да избера едно. О, това са типовете карти. Е, това май е ритуал, пък това трябва да е магическа. Сега ще видим. Да. Seeker, Sorcery, точно така. Това е Sorcery, другото е ритуал. Gain Q Energy, hits opponent. Не е зле. I push through the bitter cold, drawing the energy into a Kamifuda card by force. And with the new breath, I feel stronger. That felt weird, but also good. I should keep an eye out for more of those in the future. Важно е да се знае. Упс, не е това. Ето го тестето ми. Честно казано, ритуалите не са моето нещо много. Така че по-скоро ще ги разкарам тези. Ще оставя 3 ритуала само. The size of your deck must be exactly 20 cards. Добре. Това е новата карта. Това е друго тесте. Окей. Gains 7 Reserve. Gain Regeneration Q. Че това е по-яко от моето, между другото. Точно 20 карти, окей. Art Center. I stroll across the other side of campus. With the majority of Gloamrod's population currently absent, the university is for the most part unnervingly quiet. If you stand still for just long enough, you can even hear the wind howl, scouring a labyrinth of vacant halls. I am therefore surprised as I spot a sizable archway into an unfamiliar wing of the campus, where more than the ominous trappings of stone haunt one's ears. In fact, I hear music. I follow the sounds of an organ. It plays quite liberally Buxtehudes Toccata in D minor. I know because my brother once played an arrangement of this piece for piano to absolute perfection. Though that memory might as well be sun-bleached painting, faded and distant with time. I pass under the prodigiously sized threshold. Engraved in its stone is the lettering, Center for the Arts. Butterflies besiege my stomach. I didn't expect a place like this to entertain the merit of creative arts after all. Who has time for a painting when there are blood rituals to be done? Nonetheless, I'm glad. Here, surrounded by faint echo of a baroque melody, I feel an intangible comfort, like an old friend inviting you to warm yourself by the fire. It is a gentle repose. There are scars. No, open wounds below the surface, sure. But so long as I do not step foot upon a stage myself, perhaps they are content to slumber. Much like the rest of the campus, the center of the arts is not built in a way where one might be able to intuitively navigate it. Still, I stubbornly search for the source of the distant organ. The halls here are disorganized and winding. They are filled to the brim with small wooden doors which lead into claustrophobic rooms. Small retreats for musicians to practice in a relative seclusion. It isn't unlike my late brother's university, from what I remember anyway. I was very young after all. A few minutes into my unfruitful organ hunt, I spot a dark-haired girl climbing a makeshift ladder. It consists of 3 stacked chairs and a shabby coffee table for the base. She carries a fairly expensive looking bassoon with her, holding it improperly by the buckle. As I approach, she finishes shoving quite roughly, I might add, the instrument atop a very tall and very dusty statue. She then begins to climb down her makeshift tower, dismantling it with her descent when I ask her, "What are you doing?" The girl hops off the coffee table without a care and takes a moment to dust off her skirt. She responds quite matter-of-factly, "Putting up the wards." The what now? The wards. The Eldritch wards. The wards for what? She pauses for half a second. "Is it your first day or something? How could you not know about the wards?" Well, actually, not far from it. She begets an impish smile, though only for a moment. "They are for the curse." "A curse?" A real bad one too." "What kind of curse?" "Have you ever seen old documentaries of the Black Plague?" "Are you seriously about to tell me that this curse infects someone with the bubonic plague?" She sets her hands on her lips. "No, of course not. It gives them a version of the plague where large purply tentacles reach out of their eyeballs. And you're protecting us from that with a bassoon?" "Absolutely. 100%. Yep, that totally checks out. In fact, it may be so bold. If maybe so bold, a bassoon ward may not be radical enough. All good pandemic response professionals know that tubas are the true plague eradicator." She nods thoughtfully, eagerly. "So true. I've told the university administration as much hundreds of times. But the fools are short-sighted. They don't understand the risk they are imposing by ignoring my proposals. I speak, of course, of my requests for Glomrot to purchase upwards of 75 tubas, all of which to be strategically placed around the campus. Such wanton recklessness on their part puts our students' body at risk. If that's true, we likely don't have much time left." Damn it all." She places a hand on my shoulder. "We did all we could. It's in the hands of the Eldritch now. I must go. Spend your final moments well, my comrade in your final moments well, my comrade in arms." She skips past me in a flash, and all too quickly turns down the next corridor. Frankly, like someone fleeing the scene of a crime. Well, that was something. Later that day, as I walk through the university's winding corridors, I can't help but overhear a conversation. A frantic student, nearly in tears, proclaims to a friend that her bassoon is missing from her dorm room. Seemingly like a magic. A coincidence, I'm sure. Следващата спирка ще бъде комюнити центъра. Deep in the recesses of Glomrod's hall. Well, I'm almost certainly, most definitely, completely lost. Again. I try to parse any differences in the stone around me to no avail. Either Daedalus himself made this labyrinth of a campus, or my exhaustion has finally caught up with me. Because I could swear the last 4 hallways have looked exactly the same. I check Iharam's fireflies for guidance. For the first time since he's gifted them to me, the insect seems to slumber, though little specks in place of their visual vibrancy. I suppose this is karmic revenge for all those times I complained about my phone's GPS. The door on my left creaks open, though only a sliver. The faintest hint of a silhouette hides behind the door in an oppressive darkness. 3 long fingers poke out and curl onto the door. Dark, sharp, spindly things. Fret not, fret not. Little pagsworn, little light kindling in the dark. Thou art not so lost as to be frightened. A violent chill runs up my spine. I am plagued by a visceral vision of unwitting flies trapped in the webs of ever so patient spiders. But the man or creature or thing does not move despite my reluctance. It waits patiently. Who are you? Forgive mine intrusion. I sense thine heartbeat at your approach. My heartbeat? 'Tis touched by fire, no? And so thine blood flows of ember. A stargazer blessed, until it is they whom gazes into thee. It has been some time since a pagsworn tread these halls of such pedigree. Indeed, thou art a rarity. Tell me, little pagsworn, wilt thou humor me a moment, that I may touch echoes of an age forlorn, slumbering within thee? I'm going to be completely candid with you, because that really seems my only recourse at the moment. I am not so keen on seeing whatever you've got behind that door. Terrified, actually, so... Ah, afeard is he, afeard of but a humble collector. Take heart, I shall make it your visit comfortable. The door swings open. Yet it is a swirling ink-like night, and the chill touch of the eldritch that fill my view. When I open my eyes again, I find myself in... Is this a market stall? The pagsworn speaks correctly. I nearly jump out of my uniform. Holy... What are you? And where the hell did you take me? I am known as the Shopkeeper, collector of trifles once lost or abandoned to dereliction, purveyor of the very same. The strange creature watches me curiously as he drums his long fingers over the goods of his station. You work for the university? The shopkeeper minds his shop, nothing more. I see. Then why are you wearing a suit? Thou was timid, no? Weighed by a pestilence of fear. I would not have mine guessed discomfited. Does this form not see thee at ease? I mean, honestly, kind of, yeah. My heart is still beating out of my chest. But all things considered, the sheer confusion at the sight of you is doing a lot of heavy lifting here to ease my nerves. A gentle croon emanates from somewhere deep in the shopkeeper's form. It feels pleased. So, what do you want from me exactly? Thou art touched, little packthorn. Thou walkest in the shadow of a radiant star. Yet I languish. I beseech thee, share with me what stardust thine unwittingly relinquishes. Those faint embers of power of mine perished age, of mine age to come. Thou only needst to sit beside me a moment, and in exchange I shall trade thee baubles. Yet baubles are of might to befit thine pedigree. Those thou not seekest strength in the eldritch powers. A means to unfether thyself from thine worldly jailers. There's a wanting in my chest, a deep compulsion that both tantalizes and terrifies. And before I can even manage a word, most excellent, I thank you for accepting my accord. I've never so much as said to accept, but anyway, както да е. Мога да му продам карти, А мога ли да си купя карти? Окей. Мога да му продам буклуците. Gain 2 shield. Vanguard 3. В интерес на истината това е значително по-добро от някои мои карти. Това ще го ползвам и него. Единия фростринг, ако го продам за 15, какво правим? Искам ли да продавам неща? Може би не. I awake again, standing in the very halls I left mere minutes ago. Or was it hours, or even days? There is slight ache in my head, yet it feels good, strong. And the new cards in my deck, they are very real. А това е продавал той карти, окей. I should be wary of whatever that thing was. But it might not be so horrible to visit it if I need more Kamifuda relics at least. Okay, oops. Deck. Okay. В интерес на истината Magic Missiles е по-добре да замине. За сметка на това Sorcery, което просто е по-добро. Opponent loses one reserve. Това е още една стена. Не знам защо цъкам тази стена. Окей. Я да проверим пак магазина. Добре. Тук са само карти, които съм виждал вече сякаш. Добре. Magic Missiles заминават. Това буквално е по-добрата карта от Magic Missiles. Този ритуал мога да го разкарам. 22. Или пък не. За сега съм окей така. Що само излизам. Както е. Това е окей, според мен, промяна на тестето. Следва естествено клуба по Камифуда. Но това ще е следващия епизод.